And I am live. We're live. Here we go. Thank you guys so much for joining Crypto Lifer. Today we're just going to go over what my life entails. Please follow me on Twitter at CryptoLifer33, 1683 subscribers and growing. We would really appreciate that. Now, Link. I made a purchase in Link when I saw it break out of this bull flag here. I have this long trend line, which we may come back down, honestly, to $4. There's a chance. But we're hoping that we can break through this resistance here. See, we had resistance and we made it through. So now we're on our way. We hit 496 earlier. People decided to take profits, but enough people bought it back up on the bottom end. So Link is looking very strong. I'm right now up on a Link trade, which is pretty cool. Just want to see the percentage of the move right now. Yeah, up 8%. 8% on Link as we speak. Stop loss brought to break even. So I can't lose anything. It's a pretty solid trade. So I'm happy with that move. And it looks like we bounced right back. We got sold down as far as 480 at one point, and we bounced right back up. Good sign for the bulls. We have a MACD cross here on Link, so it's time to ride that up. We'll get a big move on this green histogram, and we'll see where that takes us. I would take profits at the end of that on the 4 hour. This is on the daily, so this will be a strong indication of what's going to happen in the weeks ahead. But we will see some movement, is what the MACD cross just occurred right there with that buyback. So strong. RSI ready to set and go over into the oversold area. Has a lot of room to move. And we're ready for a move for Link. I think 525, something like that. Now, again, I have us in this giant triangle. And 546 was my target a long time ago. I was telling people to buy inside this purple triangle when it happened. This is on the trend line. This is at 185. We're now at 488. And that was in December, end of December area. So in 2 months, had you just followed exactly how I was showing you the chart, you'd be up 138%, no more than that, 168% in 2 months. I mean, that's 80% a month. You can't beat that. We're about to crack 490 again. Looks like we'll just trump this. We broke earlier resistance, so with that, there's really nothing left. Like, we're on our way to boom up pretty largely. So Link looking great. That's something that I bought into last night at around 450 at 441. So I bought it for 451 at 441 yesterday afternoon, up 8% right now on the move. So it's getting a little easier to trade altcoins. I'm seeing more opportunity. Things are kind of heading in the right direction. A lot of these shapes and patterns are playing out. Now, could we retrace? We may retrace once we get up into this area, come back down. So we'll look into that. But right now, in the short term, I say Link is a buy. It kind of moved out of this bull flag here, which gave us another target of 546. That also completed the same target of the larger triangle that we had here, 546. So I'm going for 540 for my target. And from there, I will reassess what I think will happen. Having a long-term position in Link is a good idea too, you know, just allocating a couple grand, leaving it in there. Maybe put a stop loss at 50% so you only lose 1,000. Like if you bought right now, you put a stop loss at like 240. Just in case it goes really far back, you don't ride the ship all the way down. But, sorry. Not sure. I've been yawning more as I get older. It's weird. I got good enough sleep, but it's more oxygen, man. It's lack of oxygen in my apartment. That must be what it is, in my opinion. I do not have corona, you know. Looking at the regular markets, just to get a feel of what could cascade over into crypto, we got gold taking a little bit of a dump. For some reason getting sold off slightly from 1641, now coming down to 1636. People are kind of trusting the market now. The market's starting to beef up a little bit. Up 600 points on the Dow. So we got into that oversold region, so we definitely bouncing back a little bit now. And there could be some more upswing into the Dow. Long term, I'm not bullish on the USD, and I'm not bullish on the Dow at all. So, but that's just me. I trade I trade crypto and stuff like that of that nature. I did say Groupon was a buy. It was just so oversold in this area. I feel like there's just no way you can't make a little bounce back. But I would stay away from it, honestly. Just kind of that was more of a creative, crazy idea now. Direction shares going back into the 59 area, which is a little strange too. So we're going to see how that plays out. But I think that's a long-term hold. I think you'll see it just come right back up. Basically, this is the bottom of the trend line. Nice place to buy. This is my accumulation range for JNUG, which is a gold ETF. Getting hammered today as the Dow makes big moves. They're just like resetting it for a nice buy. But wow, getting hammered fast too. Down 4% already. So we'll see what happens with that. But yes, took a little bit of a hit. But I think if you hold this for a month, you're going to be in the green pretty well. I think gold will rebound up to 1,700. If we look at gold's in an inverted head and shoulders. Okay. So you can almost see it on the daily, but it has a head. Kind of had a head, a shoulder. And not that great. Let me see if it's on the 4 hour. Right here. There's a shoulder, a head, and it's forming the other shoulder. So if we take that, we bring it to the shoulder, that shows gold going up over 1,700 into the 1,720 region. Also have this kind of bull flag that it fell out of on a V-shaped recovery but came back in. We could even take this as a mini flag right here. We get the length of that pole. So just a bunch of different short-term targets, all pointing at $1,700 an ounce. So it's only a matter of time. A couple weeks, we hit 1,700. We hit 1,700 there. JNUG will have a huge bounce. Let's see if this is getting bought up on a wick at all. Did get a little wick action on the 30-minute. Got some green coming in. We do look like we got a cross here going into the downside on the MACD. But on the daily, we're just coming out of a red histogram. This should turn up, and we should have a MACD cross. We're also bouncing off the oversold region. So this is to me, it's a good sign for gold. I think we're going to have a nice rally on JNUG coming in. I think this would be a great time to accumulate. Anywhere between $55 and $60 would be an amazing accumulation range for gold. So stay tuned for that. Look out for that. And that's my trade in the equities markets. That's basically the only thing I would touch is JNUG. We could see things turn really fast on the Dow. Don't get too complacent with these moves. We could end up the day negative, just like we did yesterday. So I don't have a lot of credence in this Biden win and a lot of other nonsense that they're kind of using to boost what's happening with the Dow. I don't buy it. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. Bitcoin. What do I see for Bitcoin? What's happening with Bitcoin right now? Let's check it out. Bitcoin took a little bit of a hit earlier this morning. Came back down to 8660. Oof, but we got back. But the bulls pushed us up. We have a cross coming on the MACD, on the daily, which is, to me, very bullish sign. We're kind of falling into this falling wedge now. You could say this is a channel. It's a new channel, and we're at the bottom of the channel. Should come back to the top of the channel trend line, which would put us in the 9100 region, something like that, over 9,000. So I see in the short term, we get a trade up into the 9,000 region. Right now, I do have a 10-time leverage position on Bybit in at about like 80, 88.20, and we're gonna ride that. I'm gonna ride that hopefully up to 10,000. That's the plan. If we break out of this falling wedge, this is where my target for that break out of that falling wedge is 10,700, or even this resistance point at 10.58. If we break through that, then we're on our way to 11,000, and then we have to tackle this hill here of resistance. And this hill here. So 12,000, and then 13.5. Looks like our toughest. Yeah, there's not a lot of resistance in there between 12 and 13. So yeah, with the halving coming up, we're oversold on the daily and the low area. Good time to accumulate Bitcoin, mainly in many. If you bought it here, you would have won. If you bought down here, you actually would have lost here this time, but then eventually you would have made money. But so it's not always a guarantee. But here you would have spiked up, and I think you would have been smart enough to take that profit there. So we're doing the same thing. Looks like we could bounce more. There's more room. We are in a bearish area on the RSI. We want to get above 50, but it's good. We have that room to move. With this MACD cross coming, I'm very bullish right now on the short term of Bitcoin. Also, that 866 bounce back to where we were today. And this is good consolidation for altcoins. So you're going to see altcoins move now. It's kind of like when the cat's away, the mouse will play. Like when Bitcoin's kind of in a consolidation range, that's when we start to see the altcoins starting to pop. And we have Loom up 13%, Matic up 11%, CHZ up 10%, Band up 9%. Band just keeps going. It's breaking out now of this channel. So will it come back down? I'm not sure how to play Band right now because, you know, the buy was here at the bottom of the trend line. So I either like a perfect buy-in or I just kind of like have to wait it out. Not exactly sure what's happening. Link, having some issues with this area. Seem like we're just bouncing up and down here. We got sent all the way back to 469 not too long ago. We came back up. Seems like we're holding new support on this line here, which is at 479, 480 region. Could be our new like temp bottom. Interesting though. We are seeing a cross. I mean, this is 5 minutes, so we'll see what happens. On the daily, what do I see for Link? Let's check it out. We have a MACD cross happening right now. So there should be some upward potential for Link. Maybe we get to 5 and then we get rejected by that $5 region there. But I think we should get maybe a retest too of this trend line, which would be very possible at 423. I still think accumulation between 430 and 460, if you ever can get Link in that area, would be a good place to get it. And in the long term, we have Link in this giant triangle, which gives us a target of $5.47. So that's what I see happening for Link. Loud over there. Kids can be loud. Kids can be extremely loud. Want to just check on the stream. It's kind of cool to see if there's any comments in the comment section today. If you want me to go over any instrument, let me know. When I started, man, it was like all this technological mumbo jumbos. I'd wait for the retest. Link might do better than ETH first bull run. Maybe Don, you might be right. JNUG oversold. Hell yeah, plus they have what ETH is missing with the data, plus Plasma is coming out soon. Oh my god, could do really well when Plasma comes out also. No, I totally. And also today is big news for Link. You see Link is merging with... Link has some news today. Link has some news. They're also merging with Ethereum Classic. Have you seen that? Link and Ethereum Classic. Let's see this. Found some Link and ETC. Found some news about that. Probably with Chainlink because... Okay. No, I saw basically news that Chainlink and Ethereum Classic were doing some type of they were doing some type of like movement together. They were having some type of partnership. Now I can't find out where it is. I have to be more prepared for that news. So former Bitcoin preacher John McAfee quits the presidential campaign and picks a different post. Crypto Baron gives up the presidential campaign. John McAfee was a U.S. presidential candidate who did not hope to win, but instead just raise awareness of blockchain and crypto during his campaign. He was competing with another candidate, Andrew Yang, who has also spoken positively about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. However, Yang recently stepped out of the presidential race. Now so has McAfee. Why is he doing that? Well, following his initial intention to not actually become president, he is now doing what he promised to do, not become president. Instead, he says his campaign manager is already negotiating for McAfee to run for another position, and no less powerful as one, per McAfee. I regret that I'm ending my campaign for president. I am instead attempting to run for vice president slot. I have asked my campaign manager, Logian Fire, to contact the campaign of Libertarian Vermin Supreme and offered to be his VP pick. Oh, so he's not out of the race already. Pretty interesting. So he's not out of the race. He's basically, changing a new form, but he's still in the game. He's still in the game. I thought when I read that something weird would happen, but so Payment Libre Protect project could turn into a network that accepts a wide range of coins, including central banked digital fiats. Despite previously released plans to develop its own digital currency, the social media giant and Libre Association partners are now considering turning the initiative into a payments network, perhaps along the process to bypass some of the regulatory hurdles that have so far blighted its progress. Per official communication, the association claimed it was sticking to its guns. However, the association stopped short of providing any detailed information on business models, suggesting that the project's final direction was still a matter of discussion among its members. The Libre Association has not altered its goal of building a regulatory-compliant global payment network, and the basic design principles that support that goal have not been changed, nor is the potential for the network to foster future innovation. Is that the boothead guy? John McAfee? Is that what you're saying? So Trump calling for a bigger rate cut could be really good for Bitcoin. Markets spooked by the shocked rate cut. As traditional finance panics, Bitcoin is trading sideways. Bitcoin currently at 8,700, hit 8,660 not too long ago. Meanwhile, fears of the impact of the coronavirus have forced the Fed's hand. And in a bid to fight the slump yesterday, the Federal Reserve cut U.S. rates by 50 basis points, a level not seen since the 2008 economic crisis. Now, if I'm studying George Gammon and other people who are basically their lives are basically watching the economic ins and outs of the Federal Reserve and the governments, they're telling me that the Fed has lost control of the rate. The Fed used to control the rate. Now what they're doing is following the rate. They're watching the market and then trying to put the rate where they think the market should be, therefore looking like they're controlling the rate. But they also I don't know anything about that guy actually. I know nothing. The Vermin dude. So you know more about him than me. Sorry about that, Nikolai. I had no idea. Muser, XRP Muser. So only pseudonyms out here. Vermint. Yeah. No. We need to get you on the stream one day, man. Get you on the stream. Want to interview you about how you got into crypto. We could do a Skype call if you want, and I could Skype you, and then we could set it up like I did with John McAfee. But I'd love to do an interview with just someone who got into crypto not too long ago, and what goes on. No, I'm gonna look him up for sure. Vermint. But Trump wants more rate cuts because he says the rest of the world is getting way less for borrowing money. So why are we paying more to borrow money? And that puts us at a disadvantage. The Fed and Trump don't seem to get along. It's interesting. Stocks in the United States rallied for about 15 minutes after the rate cut, but worries about the Fed's impotence in the face of economic risks from the coronavirus quickly fueled the market sell-off. By late Tuesday, stocks were sharply lower and bond yields had plummeted to previously unthinkable lows as investors sought a safe place to park their money. And today, Link taking a hit. Link, baby. Why are you doing that to me, man? 478. Look, we just bounced back. So there's something weird's going on in the crypto market right now. Most people are in negative rates. It's a horrible thing. I don't know. I don't want us to get the negative rates, but at the same time, I think we had negative rates for a while. So, he's just trying to do anything he can to take the idea that the economy isn't where it needs to be. We have more leverage people in the stock market than history, meaning all this propped up stock. You watch the Dow and you say, the Dow is up today. That's a bunch of credit cards, honestly. People holding credit. Gold bouncing back now, up to 1640. Wow, look at that. Huge candle on the daily. If we look at it on the 5-minute, which shows you kind of what was happening as the market began. So gold hit 1646, got crushed back down to 1636, but now it's coming back up to 1640. We'll see what happens. I am very, very hot on JNUG right now. $7,000 position I made today, right in this little area between 61 and 59. So we're going to see what happens with that, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is on JNUG. 7K on JNUG. We will revisit this back, and you will see if I'm a horrible trader or a good trader, but it was basically the time. If we look at it on the daily, we were bouncing right off this oversold region with a nice bounce. We still haven't entered into the green histogram. We're curling up here, finishing off the white part of the red histogram. The green is coming, folks. It's only a few distances away. I think this gets back up into the 60 region. They crushed it down for a nice buy-in in the 58s. Yeah, the QE is never ending. It's impossible for it to end. I explained that, basically a video that I'd like to show today is not the other part of Mike Maloney's video, but this part, the part where I discuss if the first dollar bill that you ever get, right, comes from the Federal Reserve that you have to borrow the dollar from, right? Then, watch this. He explains it so perfectly. So then to pay that dollar off, you have to borrow more money, right? So it's a debt ceiling that will never end. Here we go.
And there was interest due on every one of those loans at the bank. Who they are is an even bigger secret that we'll get to shortly. But first, we need to understand the mumbo-jumbo of the so-called. Here's one of the biggest secrets of them all. Before the establishment of the Federal Reserve, there was no need for personal income tax. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913, and that very same year, the Constitution was amended to allow income tax. Do you really think this was just a coincidence? Ask yourself how much income tax you've paid over your lifetime. Much of it has been silently siphoned away into the hands of those who own the system. Yes, this system has owners. Who they are is an even bigger secret that we'll get to shortly. But first, we need to understand the mumbo-jumbo of the so-called debt ceiling. It's all based on a huge paradox. There was interest due on that bond, and there was interest due on every one of those loans that the banks made. That means that there is interest due on every dollar in existence. Let me ask you something. If you borrow the very first dollar into existence, and that's the only dollar that exists on the planet, but you promise to pay it back plus another dollar's worth of interest, where do you get the second dollar to pay the interest? The answer is that you have to borrow that one into existence and promise to pay it back with interest as well. So now there are $2 in existence, but you owe $4, and so on and so on. The result is there's never enough currency to pay the debt. There is always more debt in the system than there is currency in existence to pay the debt. Therefore, I
explain this to people and they think that I am basically taking mushrooms on Spider Island and I'm out of my mind. I've sat with friends that are worth millions and explained this to them and they look at me like I'm crazy.
The system is impossible. It is finite. It will come to an end one day. What would happen if the government stopped borrowing to do deficit spending? Are the payments on those treasury bonds going to stop? What would happen if the public stopped borrowing and going deeper into debt? Are your house and car payments going to stop? No. There is a payment due every month on the principal plus the interest on every dollar in existence, and those payments do not stop. If we stop borrowing, then no new currency is created to replace the currency that we used to make those payments. Whether you're making a payment on a loan or paying tax to make a payment on a bond, the portion of the payment that goes to pay off the principal extinguishes that portion of the debt. But the debt also extinguishes the currency. Currency and debt are like matter and antimatter. When they meet, they annihilate each other. If we just pay off the principal only on all the loans and bonds that exist, the entire currency supply just vanishes. So if we don't go deeper into debt every year, look what happens. The whole thing goes into a deflationary collapse under the weight of those payments. Politicians and pundits alike talk about balancing the budget, paying down the debt, and living within our means. They don't understand that that is deflationary. It is impossible to do under our current monetary system without collapsing the whole economy.
That's why I always say end the Fed, man. And if I ever see a politician that he's running on end the Fed, I'm immediately drawn to that person because I know that they have an understanding of the world we live in. And that's when we get the new financial reset. Yeah, I really think we need something like that to happen sooner than later. And it's getting irritating. Like, I'm getting irritated living in a world where I know what's going on and everyone around me doesn't. And, you know, I'm ridiculed by my mother, my father. I can't really talk about it with my family because they won't sit here and watch that video. Like, I could put this out. My family members know that I stream all the time. They never go to my channel and press play. It's funny. Your closest family and friends will not support you. I learned that through music. I learned that through, for whatever reason, they're so close to you. I guess they feel like they've talked to you enough in your life. They're sick of looking at you, and they want to research other things, different things. Now, if someone else probably said the same things you were saying, they might listen to them. But I have a few friends that actually got into crypto, and they do listen to me, and I appreciate that. And I'm not saying all my friends, but about 90% of the people in my life look at me and think I'm a know-it-all or someone trying to tell them. It's really weird. People don't even know that the Fed is a private entity owned by the central banks. Yeah, when I first learned that, I used to say that to myself, it's private, and I was like, do I know that, or am I just making this up? And I'd have to look into it and figure it out. And like, now I know what I know. I've based my entire YouTube channel on this, and that's where you become a follower and not a leader and not a follower, right? Like, I am creating a pathway for my legacy here on YouTube and forever, because people are going to see my track record. Like Peter Schiff, he was calling for the '08 crisis. He said that we have a housing bubble on our hands. No one was listening to him. No one believed him. And yeah, so look what happened, right? He was spot on. And that's why he keeps selling gold and doing what he does. The fact that he's so anti-Bitcoin always bothers me, but at the same time, it is what it is, right? He has his own beliefs, his own ideas. He's funny because he's the reason I got into Bitcoin. I have a great video on my channel, and just want to bring it up today because it talks about how the mind changes, right? And like how I got into Bitcoin. It's one of my first videos, and I put it out on 9/11, and a moment of silence for everyone that died in 9/11. I was here in New York, and it was tough, man. It was a tough day. But this is interesting.
Be a better doctor. You have more and more patients. You gain experience. To be good at learning about money, you need to research it. It needs to be something you take some time out of your day or a few hours a week and spend some time finding out about the monetary system, about the banking system. This will help you make other decisions in your life later on. As I got deeper into it, Mike Maloney fully explained the monetary system, and I still didn't get it. It took me 3 more years of watching these videos over and over and over again.
3 years.
Consciously being brainwashed by outside sources, making me unlearn what I learned, until I was able to hammer in the learning over and over again and trust and believe it. I find Peter Schiff, and he's on YouTube saying we're in for an economic housing collapse. He goes on Fox News and puts his whole reputation on the line and says, the market's going to collapse. You're going to see a real estate bubble like you've never seen. I told my parents and families and friends, no one really truly believed me. I was watching these videos about 4 months before the economic collapse really happened. I lost my job at the time, so I was directly affected by this as well. So what happened was, Peter Schiff was telling me, buy gold, buy gold. Now, 2005, I was already interested in buying gold. At the time, gold was $400 an ounce. And I had a good friend, my friend Mo, and he was saying, Sam, you're a smart guy, what would you do? And I said, I'd buy a bunch of gold right now. I'd hold it in 10 years and it'd be worth $1,000. I was exactly right. The sad thing is I had no money at the time. I was a college kid, and I didn't buy not 1 ounce of gold. I also didn't have my mind right. I didn't realize that I could pull things into my reality if I really focused on them and wanted them with true desire. Eventually I desired gold so bad, and I acquired it. I did, and buying my first ounce of gold was an amazing experience.
But anyway, this talks about how I got into 9/11. 9/11 taught me about the Federal Reserve, because I got into videos about conspiracy theory. And basically, they make the truth look like conspiracy theory, right? They're alive now with this nonsense.
As you know, this is a controversial topic because some of the journals would find this to be an existential moment for them if everything was free immediately. We are working in that direction. We have for a few projects, like the Cancer Moonshot, like the HEAL Initiative, require risk groups, the fatality is much higher.
Sam.
Harris, because we now have, unfortunately,
enough
Our own,
cases
correct.
in our own. Yeah.
But that's of concern to me that the Chinese did not share that, because I don't know. Look, in this instance, days or weeks might be very important, and I'm afraid that we might have lost days or weeks because the Chinese.
Oh, we already
unwillingness
did,
to
for
share
sure.
those early case samples. Now the fatality rate is of course controversial, because WHO just announced that they think it's 3.4%. You've been, I think, quoted in the New England Journal of Medicine a few days ago as, well, it's probably less than 1%.
No,
Is that where do you
Okay,
think it's going to end up? Because we
so-
don't know the denominator.
but
right?
that's, you said it, sir. If you look at the cases that have come to the attention of the medical authorities in China,
Anyway, I don't want to spend much time on it, but they're live right now discussing this nonsense. Well, not nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's sad what's going on right now with the coronavirus. But, yeah. Chainlink had news. If you go to Coin Calendar, I believe, it's a really good resource. Let me see. I think I have it here in my crypto thing. It's crazy. Coin Market Cal, cryptocurrency calendar, coins calendar. You can just see what's happening and what a coin might have. Binance is an answer many questions, right? AMA, ask me anything. Telegram, on March 4th, Berlin, monthly update. Crypto fears, Paris. Let's see what else. Something else I wanted to look at. I saw something going on with Chainlink. Like they had a deal with somebody. They had something going on today. Link. The sirens just don't stop here. It's just insane. No upcoming news. I mean, I saw that they were doing something with like metadata or metabait. Something's going on with Link in the next few days. And there's something happened with Link and Electronium Classic as well. I'm not sure what, but something did go on. The Fed takes emergency measures to cut interest rates. Bitcoin tries to hold on to support. Really need to see what's going to happen with Bitcoin now. It's kind of in a shaky situation, in my opinion. There's a lot bearing on the markets, a lot going on. So I really want to see it get back above 9,000 at least before if it doesn't, we could see it go below 8,000, right? And that could ruin all my trades for the day right now. JNUG just starting to pop again. I'm telling you, it's going to make a big move. It's on its way. Look at the Dow one more time. Down. See, now it's losing momentum, in my opinion. Pretty good sell wick right there. Try to buy it back. It's in the morning. That's a doji. That's a bad sign right there. That's not a good candle, actually. We do have a MACD cross coming, which says we must have a move up on the charts. So the technicals say we got something brewing. But, it's kind of in the same place as Bitcoin, which is interesting if you look at it on the MACD. 8 cases in New York City. Jesus, man. Yeah, my job says if I don't go back to work on the 9th, that I was working remotely, that they're going to fire me and lay me off. I think it's really weird that you would make me go to work on the subway. Also, if I own that company, I was thinking of writing the owner of the company and telling him that he needs to start getting ready to set up remote employees, because there's going to be a chance where he has 5 to 10, maybe 10 and 20 employees all sick around the same time, and sick for like a week or two, and then having to quarantine for 2 weeks after they've been sick or before they've been sick, or the whole office getting quarantined if we have enough people sick in the building and it gets out, right? So if you're not ready right now to set up some things remote for your company, then you're going to be in a bad spot. So I think people need to be preemptive business-wise, have a plan, right? Like now I'm past like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Like you need to actually have a plan for how you're going to conduct business in case we do have quarantines and we do have people unable to come to work in mass. This is something that should be thought out. A lot of people are still living their daily lives and they just don't think they have to create a contingency plan. And to me, that what it's failing to plan is planning to fail, right? I feel like I could help anyone with that. I'd be like, listen, this is how we could do it. I'm already working remotely. I'm basically trying to be a solution to the problem, and everyone around me is calling me the problem. It's unsettling, but it's life, right? It's life when you pick a more honorable path. when you follow your heart, you do whatever makes you what you believe is right. Like, how many characters throughout history were shamed and beaten for trying to do the right thing? Gandhi, Martin Luther King. The list goes on. The list goes on. The guy in that Dallas movie with Matthew McConaughey, who basically pushed the AIDS movement and was helped getting people get treatment for AIDS. Whenever anyone steps up against these big business, because big business doesn't like truth to power, right? But whenever you bring truth to power, you better be ready, because they're going to come at you full force, right? They're going to come at you full force. And that's just what's happening to anyone really who's kind of spreading the alarm about the coronavirus, or anyone that's saying, oh, it's just like anyone who's being not nonchalant about it. Like, if you're just like, oh, it's just a flu, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. Either you're like, what's going on, or you're just trying to live in like some type of like ignorant bliss, right? Which is sad. But Elon Musk voices support for Dogecoin. That's funny, right? We're looking at that. Fed cutting the rates. The Steam mobilizes popular vote in battle with Justin Sun. Steam community is striking back after an attempted end around by Tron founder Justin Sun. Steam has successfully deflated the hackers, and all funds are safe. There's no better way to put this. One man's hack is another man's legitimate exercise of power by a blockchain's duly elected leaders. Sun's tweet got ratioed pretty hard with 486, but here's what we know. It's important not to unlike some blockchains. Steam uses a delegated proof of stake consensus mechanism, meaning a limited number of nodes validate transactions on the chain. To recap, early Monday morning, Steam blockchain was taken over by a group of recently created accounts with names like Good Guy 24, Nice Try 01, and Boston Awesome. These witnesses emerged after the previous set of 20 leaders presided over the aforementioned freezing of Sun's newly acquired Steemit Inc. Ninja Mine stake of Steam tokens. At issue, whether that pool of tokens large enough to sway the governance of the entire Steam blockchain could be used at Sun's discretion. Steam has always had angst over Steemit's cachet of Steam, but former witnesses tell CoinDesk that Steemit had always committed not to vote those coins. The other day I went onto their website and it wasn't on. Like, it was a 404. I couldn't see what was happening. So, problem with Steam. So Bitcoin, people were getting upset saying that, it's horrible for the environment. So I was doing a deep dive earlier. We do have 70% is clean energy for Bitcoin, but they say it does use as much electricity as Las Vegas. In a perfect world where mining difficulty was lower, Bitcoin prices were higher, and a warehouse full of mining rigs could be run by one man, Dave Carlson, the owner of North America's largest Bitcoin mining operation, could be earning $8 million a month. However, just like reports of Bitcoin's death, reports of Carlson's personal earnings are unfortunately for him exaggerated. With the mainstream media continuing to paint Bitcoin as a modern-day gold rush, Carlson's rags to riches story has been of particular interest, even if it hasn't been put in the proper context. To be fair, though, estimates of a potential earnings don't seem unlikely when you consider he went from driving a $300 Honda to presiding over $1 million company in just under a year, and that Bitcoin mining is still widely misunderstood. Still, when the facts are examined, Carlson's business is no less impressive. To get to the truth of his story, CoinDesk spoke to Carlson about the increased attention of his Washington-based warehouse operation. He won't reveal the exact location, and how he built the company, and how it earned $8 million a month when Bitcoin prices were near their peak. I used to spend long hours connecting cables, assembling rigs, and configuring servers. I now have a core technical team that covers facilities, assembly, deployment, optimization, and management. I spend most of my time working on the larger picture issues the company faces regarding future growth and operations. Humble origins. Carlson said that he first got involved with Bitcoin mining when he started an online mining supply company, Mega Big Power, like most Bitcoin miners, from his basement. From there, he said his ambitions evolved with his interest. Carlson credited his current operation success to the Bitcoin mining community, who tipped him off that he lived near some of the cheapest power in the country and helped guide him towards large-scale industrial mining. Business Week indicates that his warehouse is now powered by an array of Bitfury design rigs. Bitfury, an influential and still largely anonymous chip designer, was a key early supporter of Carlson as well. However, while technology played a role, Carlson also needed capital, which he would receive in part from Les Rachelski, a Poland-based scientific research center, Bioinfobank, where he credits as integral to his success. He was provided incredible guidance as well as funding along the way. If it weren't for his bold risk-taking and generosity, I wouldn't have had the chance to take this concept into reality. So there you go, man. You have an idea, and the universe will provide, right? So go for what you love. Go for what you're passionate about. Do it. you know. But yeah, this guy is one of the biggest mining rigs in North America, you know, operations. Good for him, man. Good for him. It's the downfall of the mafia running the governments and the banks. It's true, man. It's true. Like, enough is enough, right? Like, yeah, I'm sick of them too, bro. I'm sick of it all. Enough is enough living in this fake world. Matic up 10%. I did not trade Matic. It was on my radar, almost copped it last night, but the last minute I kind of just fell back. I said, you know what? I'm overextended. Right now I'm in a few trades. Right now I am in, let's see. I know what I'm in, but I just want to double check. So I made a move into AION, and that didn't pan out too well. Down $50, 3%. Only put in 1666. And why I put in 1666? Because I looked at AION, and I said, AION. I looked at it like this. It's in this triangle. On the daily, it should be going up 42% soon. Bottom of the trend line buy. I feel like it's holding that region. Very interesting. We look at it on the 4-hour. Very similar place. Buying it right here. I think I bought it a little high. We got wicked down. I think we're in a good spot, though. I don't mind this 2% down right now. I think we're in a great spot. Looking like we get a 42% gain. So we're trying to get there. We're going to have to get through this resistance here. And then this resistance here. Probably take profits here at the second resistance. I feel like if we pop through the triangle, we're going to break through this first level of resistance. Coming through on the MACD is turning. So this will eventually round out. And we're in a good spot on the RSI. This is actually a pretty good trade right now. Nice setup. I would take it. Down 6% in the red. Nice to buy on the red. It's always a good move. And we're at the bottom of the trend line. We have MACD cross eventually coming for us. If you can see, we're getting through the red histogram area. And it's flattening out. This is flattening out as well. I think this is a good trade to take right now. I was a little preemptive, and I think that's why I'm down 3% right now. But I only allocated $1,666. How and why I did that? Well, because I don't only like to risk $100 a trade, right? That way, if I have a $10,000 account, I can make 100 trades before I lose the entire account. So with that, you take 100 and you divide it by 0.06, which is the stop loss. I wanted a 6% stop loss because I saw here, see 6%? I figured I'd have to be, if I got in where I was, I would have to be below this trend line, below this line of support. So I knew that I had to be in the 6% region, 6.6. But I said 6%. That gave me basically a position of $1,666. So I don't say I'm going to put $2,000 in. No. I look at the chart and I find out where my stop loss is going to be. Okay. Then I know I'm going to risk $100 and I divide it by my stop loss, 0.06. That gives me my position size. So I'm not just coming up with numbers randomly. The chart has to give me my position size. This is the safest way to trade. This is the only way you will stay in a trade all the time, constantly. So something to look at, something to review. Close to the airport and lose money or risk everyone's health. It's true, man. They're just letting everything in. It's not going to stop, but we will be going over that tonight. I do a morning stream about crypto and Bitcoin, and basically I do the markets, talking about the markets. I really only just touch the Dow Jones because it's such a big mover. But look at JNUG, man. You could have gobbled it up at 58 just not too long ago. And look, you'd already be up from the bottom of that wick to this line here. 3.4% gain already right there. To me, 4% is great too, especially if you put 10 grand and you're making $400. Not bad at all. I say that the Dow starts to lose some headwind here. I think it's going to close up 200. This is a red engulfing candle too. Like, look, see how you can move almost this candle in. If this extends even longer, and then we have a doji here. See this? This is like an evening star. See how it's up and down in the middle? It means a lot of people are selling, a lot of people are buying, and they're stuck in this middle part. There's no more momentum to this move. We're still kind of low too, a little oversold. But in my opinion, I wouldn't be buying the quote-unquote dip on these. I would be waiting for a far bigger correction, somewhere past 18,000. I drew a Fibonacci retracement on this, which I do show every day. on my stream. And if we get into the golden pocket here, which would be completely normal for any instrument, they just overprinted this thing. Like, you can't keep telling us it's going to go up for forever. Like, to me, it's just insane. Like, again, I show this a lot. Here is the .com bubble, boom. Here's the 2008 crisis, boom. And we're all the way up in top of Mount Ida over here. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Not good for the markets. Not a strong indication of America's wealth when it's 50% is leveraged. Come on, man. All this is credit. All this is credit and printed money from the Federal Reserve. We're in a propped up market. It's a Ponzi scheme. Like, it's a joke to me. We need real money, not currency. There's a difference between money and currency, and you need to learn that. Currency does not last long enough to be called money, and it doesn't hold its value long enough to be called money. Money has to hold value over long periods of time, such as gold. 5,000 years, gold is still valuable. The American dollar started, 1911 or something? In the early 1900s, after the continental dollar was basically brought to its knees, and it's lost 97% of its purchasing power in that time. So it hasn't shown to be a store of value. In 100 years, it's lost almost 100% of its value. So that is a horrible asset to be holding, and that is not money. Money has to give you value over a long period of time, and I mean like a few hundred to 1,000 years. The U.S. dollar hasn't even been able to last 100 years. It's a Ponzi. It's a complete Ponzi scheme. The earlier you figure that out, the better your life will be. But yeah, this WRX just keeps pushing. Makes me want to kind of get into it. It's because they just released a ban. I did draw this just yesterday too, man. 2 days ago, I drew this wedge, and I said, well, we have to make it out of the wedge. And again, it just hit its target. You can kind of go like this. You go to the bottom of this, you bring it back up. So more upside is actually there. 17%, but you kind of missed the move. Like, I wouldn't chase the candle like that at all. What a great time, though. The news came out, and boom. So news does work, because India's Supreme Court ruling, they said they banned cryptocurrencies, and then they did it, right? The court of the world's largest democracy quashing the country's central bank decision to ban cryptocurrency exchanges from interacting with banks under its control. So the Supreme Court said you can't do that, and India may resuscitate and drive Bitcoin's prices. The landmark ruling, a welcome move that is not only a boom for Bitcoin and crypto across the board, and specifically India, but for overall health of the crypto sphere. And remember, they're the second biggest nation in the world per population. So if we get them buying crypto, that's going to be a huge move for us. WRX, though, new token exchange in the WRX exchange, and they implemented them with Binance, so it's moving. The Loom network having a bit of a breakout, a little bit of a double bottom here, as you can see. Looks like we should have more upward potential, but I would take profits here at the 200-day moving average, see if we can get above it, and then I would go from there. That's how I would play Loom right now for that moment. Band, I really got to look into Band, because it's got these rounded bottoms, which are very, very bullish. You can see that they've completed their complete bottoming on the daily. I feel like, does it come back to the trend line, or does it just start making crazy moves here? I can't really figure out this pattern, and I'm not sure what I'm seeing. It kind of is a bull flag, but it came from the bottom. So it's interesting, something to see, like it was flatlined into it. Even if we just took the length of the bull flag and we tried to prop that up. We do have to get through this resistance here, that resistance there, and then we're pretty free falling up until my line. It kind of coincides with that last point of resistance right there, which is very interesting. You can see that. So target for this, if I had to play it, but I'm really not. I'm just trying to use my creative skills here to figure out where this is at. 31% gains still for Band coming. Put us up into the $60 region, 59. But I'd have to see how that plays out. We do have a cross in the MACD, so we should be pointing up. But the RSI is on its way to oversold. We could see a big momentum. Double bottom here, kind of on the RSI as well. You could say this is a double bottom. So we could also play that double bottom. This W here. Kind of a triple bottom, really. But if we looked at this W, double bottom, we came to the top. Kind of gives us the same, very similar target, 60. So ban may be something I may be looking at now as I get into it. But I just I like to play a little more sure patterns, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, guys, I really appreciate you watching today. I'll be back tomorrow at 8:30. Today I had a technical difficulty with one of my cameras. Things were going wrong, kind of threw me off. But I'll be back tomorrow at 8:30. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And if you want to get into coronavirus and things of that nature and outer date, you know, meta knowledge, and just you want to kind of inform yourself on what's going on. Yeah, even Stanford experts say it's uncontrollable. No, I got you, man. If you got money in crypto, I hope all is well for you. But let's be realistic about the situation. Even Stanford experts say this is uncontrollable. No, for sure. We know it's bad. It's in a bad spot. And tonight at 10 p.m., China said there's 2 types of coronavirus, one with the mutation. I agree because I'm seeing people fall on the ground that get like cytokine storm, and it gets into their neurological part of their brain, and it actually shuts down their heart and other parts of their body. So Link taking a hit right now, coming back into my region, saying if you can get Link in 460 region, I think it would be a great place. This green box is my accumulation zone for Link. So people are selling Link off. Looks like they got their profits. Looks like we may have some downturn. I may kind of hide into Tether today. I think there's just too much uncertainty in the crypto market. It looked good last night. Things were going well. I'm just getting that feeling things are taking a little bit of a turn for the worse in crypto today. I can't exactly tell you why. I don't know what the catalysts are, but we're getting into that 86 region again, testing it again for the second time today. That would put us back into 8,200. I think we're going to have a little bit of a retrace here in Bitcoin. That's what I'm feeling. The mutated one is very hard to get a vaccine. Yeah. We're going to go further into that tonight at 10 p.m. I'll be talking about the coronavirus live. I hope we're not screwed, man. I hope we got to stay positive, but we got to look at reality. MA63, I believe you. And thank you guys so much for coming on to my live stream. About to sign off. But remember, tonight at 10 p.m., I will be live discussing the coronavirus and going over other things that are affecting us with the market. But mainly the coronavirus, talking about what I see, how many deaths, death toll, stuff like that. We'll be going over the statistics of the coronavirus tonight at 10 p.m. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I'll sit here for just 10 more seconds just to wait, 20 more seconds to see if there's any last comments that I can answer. No, I agree. The more people that die in the U.S. will show what happens with the markets, which I think isn't going to be a good thing. But yes. Thank you. You too. Stay safe. Good luck. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I'll be on.